I am so excited to speak today with none other than our own son, Ross Moores. So you'll notice the surname is the same, and that's not because we're brother and sister. But thank you for those who would have assumed that I look like young enough to be his sister. Just joking. But we're really excited today because we're talking about how to take an effective gap year. And we're talking about this topic not only because our son is now in that position where he's taking a gap year, but we've been working for years with many students and parents whose children aren't sure about their career and their career direction. And it's not just with students. What we see these days is people doing career transition in the middle of their career and taking a break. I mean, we don't normally call it a gap year then, we call it a sabbatical, but taking a break at that stage of their careers to really rethink, am I going in the right direction? If I were to retire right now and look back at my career, am I really happy with what I've been doing? Would I regret anything? Am I really living in line with my meaning, my purpose, my values? But our conversation with Ross is not that far. He's definitely not at the midlife crisis stage yet. So Ross, welcome. We're really excited that you're joining us today, in person and virtually from another place in the house. Welcome to you.
Thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity for me to be here.
Thank you. So Ross, we know that you matriculated last year, grade 12, finished high school, and you have chosen to take a gap year this year. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about what motivated you to take a gap year this year.
Well, to be honest, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, which might have played a small role in taking a gap year, just a smidge. But yeah, so I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I thought let me not waste money and go study something that I won't even enjoy or won't even work for me. And so I decided, let me rather take a gap year, save the money, and figure out what it is I want to do and what it is that I enjoy in life.
Oh, good reason. So Ross, going into the gap year, did you have any goals or objectives that you wanted to achieve or see realized by the end of this year?
I think mainly I just wanted to gain working experience, so that I've got something more than whatever I choose to study, if I choose to study. And I've got working experience even if I don't choose to study, and I can just go straight into this field of work or whichever one pops by.
Yeah, I guess you're at that I don't know yet stage. And what about going into it? I mean, it sounds like you've kind of gone into it quite easily, but did you have any fears or concerns going into the gap year?
I think I didn't really have any fears or concerns going into the gap year. The fears are mainly just about what's going to happen after the gap year and what I'm going to do with my life afterwards. Because I mean, sure, 1 year freebie, but after this, I actually have to, be responsible and support myself. I'm not saying that it's not what I'm doing this year, but it's just scary. Don't know what's happening, but that's why we take these CS, so that so I can figure that out. So I don't have to be scared.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on people to figure out a career very early in life. And, sure, so you can spend time exploring during a gap year, but I guess then there's that pressure of, okay, now I'm meant to figure it out in this 1 year. And what if I don't figure it out in this 1 year? That's also a reality. But tell us a little bit more about what you're doing this year, Ross. What kind of activities or work or, what are you busy with this year?
Well, at the moment, I'm working for Out of Box Thinking, the best company that there is. And yeah, so towards the end of May, I plan on going to a youth camp in America called Swamp Camp, and I plan on being a counselor there for about 6-7 weeks. And then I'm also trying to, well, I've already put my application in for that, so hopefully they accept me. That'd be great. But I also plan on doing some volunteer work in Kathmandu in Nepal towards the end of the year to get some of those hours in.
That's wonderful. And when you signed up, or when you were thinking about going and working as a counselor at the swamp camp, or going and volunteering to help the communities in Nepal, did you have anything in mind in terms of how that would help you figure out what you want to do, or what you wanted to achieve through that, or what motivated you to sign up for those things?
I think it's just, I've been going to the camps that the South African versions of the camps since I was 10 years old. Thought, why not give it a shot being on the other side of the fence, being the counselor instead of the camper, and helping kids through their lives, and getting their energy and their meaning, because that's really what those camps do.
Oh, I love that. And Ross, at Out of Box Thinking, what I know, we at Out of Box Thinking offered you an opportunity to work for us, and we kind of had a list of things in mind that we wanted you to do that we thought, great. We haven't had the opportunity to get those things done yet, that we've been procrastinating on our to-do list. But from your side, what made you accept that opportunity?
Well, the fact that I get free accommodation really helps, and that my petrol money is covered. Also great. But it's work that I enjoy, and that actually it's something that I might actually go into after my gap year. So it also provides a lot of opportunities to grow in my connections and my relationships with other people, which I think, relationships are probably the most important thing in life, because they really help to guide you and to keep you on track in life.
Yeah, I agree. Relationships are super important. So what have you enjoyed the most so far? I know it's kind of right at the beginning, but is there anything stands out to you that you've been enjoying more than other things as you've been working?
I think the workshops have definitely been fun, because then I actually get to interact with people. I also helped upgrade the client management system, but wouldn't say that was particularly fun. It was just, a task that I knew how to do. But yeah, I think the workshops are really fun, because then interacting with people is just great experience, and great growth in relationships and connections.
Well, I've certainly found you a tremendous help as you've been assisting me in my workshops. And especially from the technical side, when people are having problems connecting or sorting out their mic or anything like that, that's been helpful. And I think you have a real natural insight into people and what helps them grow and what motivates them. So I really enjoyed working with you in that respect. But I know that every job has little pieces that we also don't like and don't enjoy. So what have been the things that you've thought? I mean, I know you've mentioned putting together the customer relationship management system, which we're really grateful you did. But is there anything that stands out that you think, oh, I really didn't enjoy that, or I really don't want to do more of that?
I think in general, working for your parents sucks. It's the worst thing you could ever do. No, of course I'm joking. Working for your parents is it's great. Yeah, it helps you get to know them better on an actual meaningful level in terms of what they actually go through in their working day. It gives you a whole new perspective on that. But I mean, the pay is not great, but what can I say? I'm a trainee, so you get what you get and you don't get upset.
Nice, Ross. So, Ross, at the moment, I think some people are joining and watching this for themselves, and other people are watching and joining this because they have children who want to take gap years or just don't know what they want to do in their careers or what they want to study. So, from a student perspective and from someone who's taking a gap year's perspective, what would your advice be for either students or for parents who are in that situation at the moment?
So I think if you are unsure about what you want to do in your life, then taking a gap year is definitely a great idea, in my opinion. I think it definitely helps you to grow and to understand yourself, but also to understand those around you, which definitely helps in life. Obviously, this might not be a fact, but it's just how I've been experiencing my gap year myself. And I think, yeah, taking a gap year is a great idea. And I think more people over the years and generations will be taking gap years because they're becoming less and less sure of what they actually want and what they need, and then finding the difference between the two, which is another thing that gap years really help with, is differentiating between your wants and needs and understanding the importance of both.
Yeah, I think, Ross, in our work, we see people who are even older than students still not making that differentiation yet between what they want and what they need, and it can have an impact on their career and meaning and purpose. So, yeah, I'm excited for you that you're taking those steps to figure out those things at this stage in your life. And I think it's courageous to take a gap year. It almost feels safer to just jump into something structured that seems to have a clear end goal. So, yeah, all the best. And I appreciate that you'll be working with us for a couple of months and before you go off and study and do other things and travel. And so, yeah, really, really enjoy hearing your perspective. Thank you so much for sharing them honestly.
Well, thank you very much for having me and for having a platform on which I can.
Sure. So let me ask questions of another person in the room who you'll notice also has the same surname, being Reinhard Moores, as my husband. So Reinhard, you not only co-parent Ross with me, but you are a parent in your own right, and you are also a coach for students who are taking a gap year. You work with parents who have students who want to take gap years. And you also do a lot of coaching for people who are either in an existential vacuum, midlife crisis, going to retire, or just not sure where to go in their career, how they can find meaning and purpose. So tell us, is there anything that you want to add? Tell us a little bit more about what your view on gap years is.
Okay, well, thanks, Jane. Maybe we start with 2 disclaimers for Ross. Yeah, so just for everybody listening, we do pay Ross better than minimum wage. Yeah, so I didn't know about that petrol allowance. Maybe we should cut that. So I think Jane snuck it in there. And Ross, there's much more to do on the client management system, so it's not going to stop. So that's why you hire gap year students, that you can do these sort of things. We didn't hire Ross because we felt sorry for him. We hired him because we knew he could contribute very well, and we're excited to have him with us. So Ross, thank you for doing that. But I think, Jane, I a couple of years ago, a friend and client phoned. He said, help. My daughter who's studying law wants to quit and it's only the 3rd month. What should I do? Can you see her? I said, well, I can see her, but maybe I should see you and your wife first, and so we had a session, and it was clear that she was super bright, super achiever, and, didn't really know what she could study. I have nothing against what you call these things like application, sort of the test that you do at school, what you're good at. The problem is a lot of people are good at a lot of things, so, And if you're academically sort of a little bit better, then you can almost do anything. So it's actually sometimes actually more confusing. It's at least at school when I did it, they immediately said, forget maths, forget science. It was easier. But
Why not? You're too hard on yourself.
no, it was true. But anyway, so I chatted with the daughter, I chatted with the parents again, and she took a year and a half off and went to the kibbutz. This is before COVID. Came back, was excited, learned a lot about life, and was ready to do the next phase. And I'm glad the parents were very mature to do that sort of thing, to say, hey, but I think it's not just the gap year thing isn't just for the kids. It's a family thing. It's some families have a mom and dad are not in the same household, but it's always a family thing. Some are single parents. It's not just the child. And I think for everybody goes through it together. And there's a lot of fears to manage. The children has fears, but I think sometimes the parents have even more fears. What's going to happen to my kids? They should study, they're going to be behind, and then you hear, Mary or Joe or Sipo or whoever's child is studying whatever, law, medicine, you go, see, my child is going to be 2 years behind, and then I say to people, most people, if you're 85 and you make it to there and you're in an old age home, and I always tell that to people. And you sit and you talk, me and the vet will probably be in our old age home together, right? The vet was a whole 10 years younger, so he'll be 75 and I'll be 85. But me and the vet is not going to sit down and say, I wish when I was 19, I didn't do that for that year. It really wouldn't matter, and so sometimes we super panic, because, but it's sometimes just good to stop, to talk to somebody, calm down, be rational, and have a long-term view about the thing. For the child, it's super stressful to go into any situation, a trade, university, college, it doesn't matter what you do, even going direct into work, and they're not sure. It's tough. It's a huge transition from a school to the adult world. Sometimes we underplay it. And yes, it's exciting. It's much safer to go from school to like a college or university. It's a little bit more tougher academically, but I promise you, the biggest anxiety is for people who leave the academic environment and now need to do life on their own. It's a huge jump, So I think to prepare well, to take time to have everybody involved, I think it's a great thing. I always say, if you don't know, there's lots of things you can do. I'm so excited for Ross, what he's learned, just the connections he had with, and sure, we wanted to help Ross, but it wasn't like we wanted to save Ross. We really believe, me and Jane have connections all over the world. We work all over the world. And appropriately where we can draw Ross in. Yes, he literally does something for Ross. I'm half German. I pay nobody for sitting around. You can definitely, if you know me, you know that. So Ross earns his money, make no mistake. I'm not paying him to he's very handsome, but I'm not paying him to be handsome. And he works hard and he contributes. But was also super excited that he can meet these people. He's 19, he sits in meetings and he meets people in Luxembourg, in Germany and England, and everywhere in the world. What 19-year-old does that, And I think what a great opportunity. And if he went and he studied something that he wasn't really sure about, I think he would have missed the trick. But okay, that's Ross. Maybe your child is different. But if he goes and works on a yacht, in France, why not? Go and work on a yacht, go and sip. If you go and volunteer anywhere in the world, the people you meet, the life skills you meet. I almost want to say maybe everybody should take a gap year before they study. I don't want to say it's a rule, but I think it's a great thing to do. So, okay, Jane, I went off for full
No,
11
I can
minutes,
see.
but I'm I wish I did a gap year. I mean, I'm glad my life worked out well. I married you, and I have great kids, and I have great friends, but you know, if you asked me at 25, I would have told you, "Geez, I wish I took a gap year," because I really wasn't sure what I wasn't ready to study. You know, I mean, I flunked out of varsity the first time in 2 years because I wasn't mentally prepared to study. I wasn't emotionally prepared to study. No, okay, I caught up and I studied and I did all my things, but I'm now 54, you know. Anybody out there, if you have a child or if you are the young adult, that please convince your kids or your caretaker, rather take a gap year, do something constructive. I think a lot of parents go, my son from South Africa or Australia is going to go to London and they're going to go clubbing while it's COVID. They're not going to. They're going to do nothing. They're going to play, you know, video games. You know, honestly, I don't think the average kid wants to do that. Yes, they like to play a video game. Ross likes to play video. But I think most people actually want to learn something and do something constructive. You know, I think it's sometimes fears that we as parents have that's actually irrational, you know. So, yeah.
No, that's true, Reinhard. And I mean, yeah, I appreciate that you're passionate about it. And I'm definitely the more structured thinker. You're the out of the box person. So I'm really grateful that as parents, you know, we often complement one another in our different ways of thinking. And I'm really grateful. I think a lot of the risky things that I would normally be too scared to do in life, you know, off you go. And I'm just grateful to have you in that way. And I think apart from that, you know, just along with what you were saying, in our new world of work, a lot of the skills that help people be successful are what used to be called soft skills and now get kind of termed as power skills. But today, people need to learn how to collaborate, how to connect, how to be agile, how to be flexible, how to be adaptable, all those things that get listed in the global surveys. And those are often the skills that you learn not necessarily only in an academic institution, or you even have the opportunity to learn them better outside of that institution. I'm not boxing anything, but I'm saying just because you're not taking formal study in a year, it doesn't mean that you can't learn skills that are going to benefit you in building your career.